Hello my keto peeps, it's Samaya and welcome back to my channel, I Don't Sugarcoat. Today, I'm gonna show you how I make my fluffy keto pancakes. So let's get started. Before we begin, I just want to say that today's video is sponsored by Wholesome Provision. Wholesome Provision is a company located here in the US and they specialize in keto-friendly foods. Things such as chips, cereal, chocolate chips, and two of my new favorites, Lupin Flour and their allulose sweetener blend. Now we're going to start off by mixing our dry ingredients first. And that's going to start off with our Lupin Flour. We are going to be using 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of Lupin Flour. Next, we're going to be using a new flour that I've never used on this channel before. It's called Urad flour. And Urad flour comes from Urad beans that are a type of lentils. Now, this flour is not as low carb as Lupin flour. However, I do like to use this flour when I'm making things that it gets divided up into, a bunch of smaller pieces, like putting it in a cupcake recipe or putting it in a pancake recipe, that type of thing. We're going to be adding 2 tablespoons of Vital Wheat Gluten. And now we're going to be adding, let's go ahead and add in our little mixture of stuff here. We have 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. We have 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. We have 1/16 of a teaspoon of Xanthan Gum. And we have 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm using pink Himalayan here. And then I have 1/16 of a teaspoon of some vitamin C powder here. I think it's called Asorbic Acid. And I'm finding this to be a great addition to my baked goods because it helps it to stay fresher longer. I'm going to go ahead and add these in. And then I'm going to add in 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Now you don't have to add in the cinnamon, you guys. You can make yours plain, but I like to have cinnamon in mine. I will also tell you that when it comes to cooking with Lupin flour, because I've been hearing this a lot from people, they talk about the bitter taste. And I'm pretty certain Lupin flour does have a bitter taste, and I've never encountered that, and here's why. Lupin flour is not meant to be used as the main flour in a recipe. It's meant to be used in combination. And so I think people who are using it as the main base flour, these are the people who are coming across that bitter taste. Also, it depends on how well you spice and season whatever it is you're making when you're using Lupin flour. So when you're making this pancake recipe, especially because we're using 2 bean flours here, you guys, you're going to want to make sure that you spice it well so that way you can have a great flavor. So if you're not adding cinnamon, make sure you add enough vanilla extract, which we'll be adding in a minute. So I just wanted to tell you guys that. Now we're going to be adding in 2 tablespoons of sweetener, and I'm going to be using the allulose blend here. And I just really like it in certain recipes, especially like ice creams and certain hot stuff. I think it does really, really well, especially because it is a blend. I find that most sweeteners, when they're just on their own, at least to my taste, you guys might be different. They tend to have some kind of weird taste or something to them. With erythritol, it's that cooling effect. With stevia, it's that weird aftertaste. I experience an aftertaste when I use monk fruit and so on. So I like to get sweeteners that come in a blend because it seems to cancel them out. And so that's why I'm really loving this bag of allulose It's called Allulose Plus because it's a blend. I just wanted to, you know, introduce that to you guys if you're not already using it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and mix this up. Mix it very well. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and get our wet ingredients added into a blender. And the reason why I'm using a blender instead of mixing this just in a bowl the regular way, it seems to make the batter so much better. I've tried just mixing it in a bowl and it just didn't quite incorporate things as well as I wanted it to. And the pancakes didn't turn out as smooth or as great when I put everything in my blender. So go ahead and get started by, we need buttermilk, you guys. And the best way to make buttermilk or something like buttermilk for keto is you want to start off, we need a half a cup of buttermilk for this recipe. So we're going to start off with half a tablespoon of vinegar. A half a tablespoon of vinegar. Now, if you want to make, usually I would make a cup of this and store the other half in the fridge, but since I'm just doing this recipe, we're just going to go ahead and make half a cup. And what you want to do, this is very important, you want to pour this into your measuring cup first because you only want half a cup of liquid here. So pour your vinegar in first, and then whatever, I like to shake my milk up, you guys. And then whatever nut milk you're gonna use, you guys know I always use cashew milk. It's my favorite, I just love it. So I'm gonna pour this all the way up to half a cup because we don't need to go any further than that. And now I'm just gonna whisk this together in my little measuring cup here with my little whisk. Okay, and we're gonna start off by pouring this into our blender. And that's totally gonna act like buttermilk. Now, next we need 1/4 of a cup of half and half. And you guys, I found this great half and half at my store, at my local grocery store. It's made by Silk, and it has much less carbs than regular half and half. I think it's an awesome option. And so that's what I'm going to be using today, but you can use regular half and half. Just make sure that you remember that you're going to need to adjust your numbers for carb count. Next, we need to add in 1 egg. And then we're going to add in 1/8 of a cup of an oil that you prefer. I'm going to be using grapeseed oil here. I would suggest using either grapeseed oil. You can use maybe avocado oil. I just wouldn't use olive oil. That's all I'm saying. So we're going to put in 1/8 of a cup of that. And now we're going to add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now I'm only adding in 1 teaspoon of vanilla because I'm doing cinnamon in my pancakes. If you're going to make this without the cinnamon, I would suggest doing 2 to 2.5 teaspoons of vanilla to really bring out that vanilla flavor. And then I'm going to be adding a buttery vanilla bakery emulsion. I think I said that right, you guys. Okay, and I just really like this flavor here, you guys. I really love what it does to the pancakes. If you don't have it, then don't worry about it. You don't have to put that in. I found that at Walmart in their little cake decorating aisle. So that might be something that you can find at your local Walmart without having to order it online. Okay, and now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add in our flour mixture. And now you wanna let this blend together until it's all nice and creamy and it looks like a nice, beautiful pancake batter. And And that's it. I like to blend mine for about 50 seconds on a high speed to let it get nice and well incorporated. And I'm gonna just leave this in here because we can just pour it from here into our pan as we make it. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna clean up my work surface here, and then I'll come back when we're ready to put this into a nice hot skillet. See you guys in a bit. All right, so I've got a nice hot skillet here, and I've got some butter in here because I want to show people who like to have that crispy outer edge around their pancakes, how those turn out. And then later I will do some where it doesn't have any butter in it. So we're just going to go ahead and start off by adding some of our batter to this skillet. And I don't like to make my pancakes too big, you guys. I'll let you guys be the judge of how big you make your pancakes. I am all about portion control, so I like to have my pancakes to be a much smaller size, but you judge how big you want yours to be. Also, I feel as though, and it could just be me, I feel as though they cook up better when they're a little bit smaller. You can always just eat more. You don't have to just, just have two small ones. You could just eat more, but I would suggest making them smaller. I just feel they cook up better. Now, while this is cooking, I will tell you that if you don't want to use the Urad flour, you can substitute for pea protein. And I really like using pea protein in this recipe, especially on days when I'm trying to keep my carb count down. Now, it does change the texture just a little bit. Whereas with the Urad flour, it is more of a firmer, fluffy texture. And with the pea protein, it's a little bit softer. So I guess you're gonna have to, if you decide to use the Urad, then you're just gonna have to kind of make both and see how you like it. Honestly, texture-wise, I prefer it with the Urad flour, but when I'm looking to be more conscious of my carbs, then I go with the. And now you don't want to cook these too high, and I let them cook a little bit longer just to make certain, and it's probably because I'm cooking them a little bit lower that they take a longer time to cook. I just like to make sure that it's completely cooked all the way through, because this isn't regular flour, you guys, so it's not going to behave the same way as regular flour. So remember that when making these. But as you can see, they are, well, it's only one right now. It's fluffy, very fluffy. It's thick in texture. And that is what I was going for, you guys. That's what took me so long to put a recipe out for you, because I wanted it to be with no nut flour and for it to be a thick, fluffy pancake. And now that is our first pancake, you guys. And it looks fantastic. It did get a little bit darker around the edges than what I wanted. I had my eye up just a little bit too high, but I just wanted to show you guys who, like pancakes with that crispy outer edge. And I know I do. I love the crispy outer edge. I mean, I eat pancakes both ways, but oh, I love that crispy outer edge. I wanted to show you that it can be done with this pancake batter. So I'm gonna go ahead and make them now without any butter and show you guys how that looks. So I'm gonna clean this out just a sec. Okay, I've let my skillet get hot again, and now I'm gonna go back in with some more pancake batter. And you guys just want to spread that out just a little bit. Now, you can make adjustments to this batter for how thick you want it. I would not suggest adding too much extra milk to this, because then once it starts to get runny, it just doesn't work well. And so, and it kind of loses that pancake feel. You can start adding it by the tablespoon, and probably you might only want to add somewhere between 2 to 3 extra tablespoons, depending on how many you want to make, how much you're trying to get. For this recipe here, this can get up to, I think, somewhere between 10 to 12 small pancakes. But this time, I just wanted these pancakes a little bit thicker, so I'm gonna get a little bit less. So I would definitely say don't go past the 2 to 3 extra tablespoons. And yeah, you can definitely get a solid maybe 10 pancakes out of this if you add a little bit more water. And it'll also make the carb count of these go down to about somewhere between, I think, somewhere between 1.8 to 2 net carbs per pancake. And if you're using the pea protein, it'll be much less than that. All right, look at that pancake, you guys. It looks fantastic. Mine's are turning out a little bit darker, mostly because of the cinnamon, but if you guys can see it, it looks great. And if you guys can see that thickness on it, that's a pretty thick pancake. It's a pretty solid thickness pancake. So I'm gonna cook these up, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show you guys a nice, beautiful stack of them. I'll tell you how many I got out of this batch here with the amount of milk that I used in it, and then we'll cut into these babies, okay? I'll see you in a bit. As you can see, I am on my last pancake here, and I got about 7 out of the batch. Normally I get 8, and I will make the adjustments to the milk in the actual written recipe, but because I intend to eat these for breakfast, I wanted them to be a little bit thicker. So I will have in the written recipe how much milk I usually use, but if you want your pancakes like mine, if you like them a little bit fluffier, a little bit thicker, then go with this version of the recipe as far as how much milk you want to add to it, and you will get thicker, fluffier pancakes. Not that they won't be as thick the original way, I just like mine's a little bit thicker, you know. Okay, and these are done, and they look and smell absolutely delicious, you guys. These cooked about 2 to 2.5 minutes total, because they're thicker. And like I said, they don't cook like regular pancakes. You want to make sure that you cook them all the way through, because like a regular pancake though, based on the thickness, if you don't cook it well enough, it can be gummy inside. So make sure if you're going to make the thicker version, you make sure you cook it all the way through. So now I'm just going to put a few of these, maybe just 2, because I want to be able to take a good picture for you guys. I'm going to put 2 of these over here on a plate. And I just want to cut into these for you so I can show you their thickness and what they look like on the inside. And just to note that if you go with the cinnamon version, yours will look a little bit darker like this. But truthfully, you guys, you can use whatever you want to flavor your pancakes with. I mean, they're pancakes. Flavor them however you choose. I just love cinnamon for my pancakes. I hope you guys can see how thick, how fluffy they are. I'm not sure if you can. They've got a nice crumb to them. They're going to have great texture. I hope you guys can see that from the front. See how thick these two pieces are, and they are going to be great. I really wish I could try these for you guys, but it is not my eating window, so I will not be trying these on camera for you today. But you guys, these pancakes are great. They are phenomenal. They're the closest thing I've had on this keto diet to a real pancake. So I hope you guys try this recipe out. I hope you love it. I hope you try it both ways. Try it with the Urad flour and try it with the pea protein and see which texture you prefer. What else is there to say about these? The nutritional facts will be in the description of this video. I will leave them for how much I originally made this recipe for the 8 servings instead of the 7. You'll have to adjust that yourself if you decide to make them a little bit thicker. But I will leave the original recipe on my website and the nutritional facts in this video. And so I think that's all I've got for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. If you guys want to see more videos like this, please click the subscribe button and don't forget to ding that little bell so you can get notifications every time I upload a new video. And until next time, you guys, bye.